Angry guy here, and men don't want to date or work anymore. Guys, men don't want to date or work anymore. This is something very interesting. This is actually brought up by Milo Yiannopoulos back in 2014, and recent studies have shown that men are literally completely dropping out of society right now. They're not working, they're not having children, they're not dating. They've walked away entirely from work, from Western society. What it is that men have been completely disenfranchised by society, men have been robbed by society. We'll talk about a couple of these things. One, Milo talked about this years ago. He called it the sexiness, men giving up on women and checking out society. And this was the definition that a young German man basically put out there. He said, a video game enthusiast. He said, I've been getting to know he said, marriage is dead. Divorce means you're screwed for life. Women have given up on monogamy, which makes them uninteresting to us for any serious relationships or raising a family. That's just the way it is. Even if we take the risk, chances are the kids won't be ours. In France, we even have to pay for the kids a wife has through adulterous affairs. In school, boys are screwed over time and time again. Schools are engineered for women. In the US, they force feed boys Ritalin like Skittles to shut them up. And while girls are favored to fulfill quotas, men are slipped into distant second place. Now, guys, this is something that's been happening continuously, and this was back in 2014, before hashtag Me Too started, and then we saw how things went downhill even further. When hashtag Me Too came around, we saw how young men were demonized. We saw how all men were demonized. We saw how the insane effect that had on the relationship between men and women in society. But no one wants to talk about that. They wanted to continue pretending like, oh no, it was just getting rid of the bad boys, and in modern day society, if you go around and you ask women, rate yourself, most of them will say that they're a 10. And they'll say, well, rate this really handsome guy. They'll say, oh, he's a 0. The narcissism of women in Western society today is absolutely ridiculous. And this is the reason why we have men walking away movement today that we're seeing, where men are literally completely walking away from women and Western society. They're walking away from Western women. They're walking away from Western society. MWA is not MGTOW. MGTOW is a male separatist movement. MGTOW literally want to distance themselves entirely from women. They don't want to come in contact with them. They don't want to speak to them. They don't want to see them. They don't want to hear them. They don't want to be around them. MWA is not that. MWA is not men who hate women. It's not men that want to separate themselves from women. It's men who basically given up on having a relationship, given up on having relationships with Western women. They don't want to date them. They don't want to marry them. Doesn't mean they want to separate themselves. They are not separatists, but they've given up on dating, and they also have given up on Western society, because they say Western society has literally nothing for them. I was watching this video, and I was watching a video over on another channel. Let me see if I can present this to you guys. And it's basically the real reason Americans aren't returning to work. And this is actually pretty interesting. Let me see if I can jump into the spot that I really like. This guy's talking about a weld. He uses a welder as an example. A guy, you can make up to like $30 an hour. Let's see if we can get into the right position.
Who was pushing yourself so hard, basically just used it for my dad's general contracting company, and then ultimately such a labor crisis, and why younger people and people maybe your age and my age are rethinking that mentality. Thing with Americans, if you're a European watcher, I think many of us are really defined by our work ethic. If you want to skip or skate on anything, all you basically have to say to an American is, I was working, or I had a job to do. That just covers everything. There's just this nobility that's attached with someone that just grinds and grinds and grinds, the American spirit or the American dream or the building of that. Well, what has that produced, and what has that caused? I got to looking about it, and I kind of checked out of growing up in the trades and working construction my whole life. I did the same thing. Really, from the time I was 14, I started working for my dad's general contracting company, and then ultimately went out into doing my own excavating and, basically ran all facets of that. And what I saw with my dad is he worked so hard. He didn't have the money to go buy pre-made windows. He cut all the with my son, Jack. I watched a video short the other day of a guy that was a welder.
All right. So this is where it starts. And I want you guys to listen to the situation. Listen to exactly what is happening in regards to how some young men are experiencing the world right now.
Really touched upon this. And this guy is probably in his maybe 30s or so, late 20s, late 30s, a real talented welder. And he said his company is begging for welders, begging for journeymen, anyone that's a trade, offering good pay, offering $27, $28 an hour, as well as time and a half and double time for overtime. He said, if you wanted to, you could essentially work as long as you wanted to because there is such a demand. And he said, but I'm not doing it because this is why I'm not doing it. He said, I was happy to have that money and to put those hours in until I realized that my employer was charging $200 an hour for my welding from whoever it was that they were working for and only paying him 27. When you start to see that disparity and you realize that of how much, you start to feel like we've been farmed. We're being farmed to produce and to create and to keep the infrastructure going for an elite class that is so stingy that they're not giving people a living wage. And I think people were willing to tolerate that to a certain extent because, you could kind of get ahead and you could get up on top of it. And if you want to put some work in, you could get into a house and hold sweat equity and all that. But now you can't do that anymore. So
now, guys, it's crazy. What's really crazy about all of this is he's making an incredible point. Men would go out there and they'd work these horrible jobs, and they were, boss. This is the old saying: "Boss makes a dollar while I make a dime." And that's why I poop on company time. All these jobs that men do in society today, a lot of the jobs are absolutely terrible. They're backbreaking, and they do that. They do these jobs not because they want to do them, not because they love doing them, but because they have families. So they're like, I'm gonna do this job, take care of my family, because I love my wife, I love my kids, and whatever. However, American society has completely devalued the contributions of men. Most men are not going to get married. Most men are not going to have children, and even if they do, they're going to end up divorced. What's the point? Western society has rejected men. Western women have rejected men. They say that men need to step their game up. Men need to make even more money. 50, 60, 70, even $100,000 is not enough for a lot of women anymore. And the level of disrespect that men receive is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's like men go out there and they battle. They're in a constant battle with the world. And then they come home and then they have to fight at home. And it's like they never have a moment of peace. And what's the point? And people in society, this is what women didn't comprehend. They thought that men would always keep coming back because even though they couldn't get it, they wanted the vag. So, they were going to keep on pushing and grinding just for the hopes of getting it, right? They did not see it coming that men were going to start dropping out of society entirely. They didn't see that men were going to stop. Men stop. And this is, guys, men not working. I want to let you guys know that right now, this is not a problem with women. All right? This is not a women thing. This is not a woman thing. Women have actually, the number of women participating in the labor force has actually returned back to what it was prior to the pandemic. So women are back to work. Women are absolutely back to work. It's men. There are 7 million fewer men in the labor force now. 7 million men who are refusing to work. Okay? A large number of American men of prime working ages from CBS.com, CBS News, a large number of American men of prime working age, right? These guys have, don't you just love it? Like, I'm here trying to read this. I'm trying to read this to you. And what do? They cover the ad. They give you an ad, and the ad covers the entire video. A large number of men of prime working age between 25 and 54 are not working or even looking for work, resulting in a major hole in the American economy. In 1953, 98% of men in that age range had a job or were looking for one. That number has fallen ever since. Today, 7.2 million men have essentially dropped out of the workforce. Okay, guys, they've dropped out. They've said that we've had enough. We're done. We don't want to play anymore. Okay, it's a matter of our national identities and micro the host of dirty jobs. And I think this is a giant issue. And by the time we realize how big it is, how big of an issue it is, we are doing, oh gosh, it's absolutely ridiculous. And by the time we realize how much of a big of an issue it is, we're going to have a hard time turning the temperature down. All right. And unfortunately, I can't get this damn ad off the screen. Sorry about that. It just irritated the hell out of me. But what we're getting at, what we're getting at is basically this. Um, you know, these guys are dropping out of work. They're not dating. They're not having children. They're not working. They're going on things like disability. They're staying at home with mom. They're picking up they're picking up ride share. They're picking up small gig jobs here and there, possibly. So, for example, if they ever need to make money, they might go out and do Uber Eats or do something in the gig economy and make a small amount of money, and they're happy with that. And what are they doing? They're staying home and they're spending 6 to 7 hours a day watching television, playing video games, and relaxing. This is what the men are doing. Ages 25 through 54. All right? 54-year-old guys are sitting at home playing video games, watching TV, and scratching their ass. All right? Scratching their ass. Happy, happy, happy. These men are happy, happy, happy. When manufacturing workers earning more than $30 an hour on average, Thomas says the problem is not the pay, but the perception. That's absolute crap. That's absolute. They're saying the problem is not the pay. If you're paying someone $30 an hour, 27 to $30 an hour, and you're pocketing $200 an hour, oh, there's a problem with the pay. But you think people are stupid? Guys, men don't want to date or work anymore. And what this is a complete rejection of Western society. All right? This is why the passport bros are going over to the Philippines and they're marrying Filipinos, or they're going over to Latin America or South America and they're marrying Latinos with traditional values and they're setting up roots there. What we're witnessing right now is very much a brain drain. And Western society hasn't seen it yet. The best and the brightest of us are dropping out of society. And we're all not only are they dropping out, they are leaving Western society. And that is a very serious problem. When men give up, when men say no more, I'm not going to contribute, I'm going to walk away. All right? There's nothing they can do. When the Ukrainian war broke out, they basically banned all men 18 and older from leaving the country. They didn't force them to fight in the war, but they did ban them from leaving the country while women were allowed to leave the country, women and children. The reason why is because if the men leave the country, there's no more country. Okay? This is the honest to goodness truth. If the men leave the country, 18 years old, you're still a boy. You're not a grown man. 18 years old? 18, come on. They were desperate. If the men abandon the country, there's no more country. This is literally some Viking level shit. In the year 2023, this is Viking level shit. All right? They will not let you leave because if you leave, there's no more country. Okay? The invaders come, they take your shit, they take the country, that's it. No more country. Women say that they hold up half the sky. No, that's not true entirely. Men hold up the sky, but women take up half of the but women occupy half the space under it. Okay? And somehow they believe that means that they hold no, men hold up the sky and women take up half the space, at least. And somehow they call that equality. But when men say, okay, we're just gonna let the sky drop on top of you and we're gonna bounce. We're gonna take get it, we're gonna go, we're gonna find there's a game called No Man's Sky. We're looking for new horizons, we're going for New Horizons. That was actually a title in No Man's Sky. I think New Horizons something. Or that was like maybe the first one. Yeah, men go looking for a new horizon. All right, there are many skies. People think, well, there's only one sky. No, there's actually many skies. That's not true. There's not only one sky. There are many skies. Think about it. There are many different skies. Okay, there are many skies. And guys are going and checking out. All right, they're going to other countries and they're seeing skies from all over the world, different skies. Okay, it's not the same sky. You think you're like, oh, it's just one sky. Not entirely. Okay, it's a new sky. It's a new sky. and men are going. And the men that are not leaving, they're not working, they're not dating, they have walked away from society, they've walked away from women. This is a complete, this is men walking away, MWA, and the movement is only going to continue growing greater. Are you a man walking away? Let me know what your experiences are in the comments, all right? And what you think about men not dating or working in Western society anymore. I want to know what your experiences are and what you think about this phenomenon of men just getting up and saying, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm done." Disengaging, you know, and how society is going to respond. And truth is, society cannot respond. And it's not just that. Men don't want to serve anymore. Men are not serving in the military. Okay, young men are not capable. Either they're not capable or they just don't want to do it. And this is an issue of national crisis. Men don't want to work anymore. They don't want to serve anymore. When you hear about when women are confronted with some of the things that young men are saying, that women are just promiscuous today, they're polygamist, and young women are saying that, oh, it's the fault of men. If men weren't sleeping with us, then we wouldn't be sleeping with them. But these women are only sleeping with a small number of men. All right, today the truth is that most women are only targeting the top 10% of men today. Okay, 90% of men today women find unattractive. The average woman finds 90% of men as unattractive today. 90%. The average woman, 90%. All right. She's like, ew, gross. And guys, again, let me know what you think in the comments regarding the video, regarding what we talked about. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like the video, share the video, turn on notifications to never miss another video again. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.